I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Business taxes. Was stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
Campfire season's back, and that means s'mores. But when you're at home treating yourself, take them over ice with Dunkin' S'mores Cold Brew Concentrate. And suddenly you're always treating yourself. The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be. Click or tap the banner to shop now.
It's time to rewrite the vacation rules. With Royal Caribbean, your family can look forward to just about anything. Break the thrill barrier, roaring down the tallest water slide in North America. Jump into breathtaking jungles and jaw-dropping coves. Vibe off the charts on our private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And end the day knowing things are just getting started. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
All right, guys, dropping you one more bonus episode. We mentioned this briefly, but years ago, I had a podcast called The Saint Mort Show. Most of The Saint Mort Show has been lost to the sands of time, except for on a hard drive of mine. And I dug around and found this. The very first interview for the very first thing that I ever did for The Saint Mort Show was a segment called Skyping with the Stars, in which I Skyped with George Hardy of Troll 2 fame. And I just wanted you to tune in and enjoy this very vintage interview that I did with the star of Troll 2.
All right, and we're premiering our new segment called Skyping with the Stars. Our first star is the star of the movie Troll 2 and the documentary Best Worst Movie. We have George Hardy here.
Hello, hello.
How you doing today, George?
Hey, fine. It's kind of funny to be called a star, you know? I don't think most folks that would be listening to this would ever imagine that I'm actually a general dentist in Alabama. You know?
It's the Best Worst Movie. It's a great movie. It's, getting a lot of buzz. I've been seeing on, Facebook and Twitter, people have been putting on a lot of their top 10 lists of the year.
I know. It's amazing.
And I was among one of them actually on Geekscape's list.
Oh yeah, thank you.
No problem. It's a wonderful movie about wonderful people, and it's wonderful to see. It seems like it's really a movie about people who had this dream that they thought was over with, and they're seeing that they really did make an impact, even though it might not specifically be the impact that they intended.
Exactly.
Now, there's one person in the documentary that grabbed my attention the most that I wanted to ask you about was the director, Claudio.
Sure.
Of all the people, he seemed the most reluctant to take on the title of being the director of the worst movie of all time, which is understandable, but it says that him and his wife are working on Troll 2 Part 2. Is there something that they didn't show about how he eventually came to terms with the title, or what exactly was the story with Claudio? Because it didn't really show at the end if he was all right with this or not.
I really think that Michael really was able to capture the true essence of most all of us that he interviewed, especially Claudio, the director of Troll 2, and the fact that he did direct probably one of the worst films ever made, according to millions of people now that have seen, really bad movies and put it up there as one of the top 100. In fact, it hit the bottom 100 in April of 2006 when we stumbled across it on IMDb, and that's where the whole kick star of the documentary came about. And so, fast forward 18 years later since Troll 2 was made, yes, Claudio's become known as the director of one of the worst films ever. But, I think what the essence of that was caught in Best Worst Movie, that Claudio is truly an artist, and he paints film on canvas like a painter would paint on canvas. And so it doesn't matter to him whether it's good or bad. It's all about making an impression. And obviously, it made a huge impression of all the movies he's ever made. It's made the biggest impression. He's probably made about 30 or 40 movies in his career. I mean, Claudio's definitely become known for Troll 2. And I don't think it hurts his feelings. I don't think he's angry about it. He laughs with us about it. And he's just such a likable guy. And I think, truly, there is one part in the documentary where Claudio says, "These actors' dogs, they are nothing. They are nothing. They're nobodies." Talking about me and the rest of the cast members, but I think that's something that's translated a little differently in our language, and he's just basically saying that we really aren't anybody, and he's right, we really aren't.
Now, how did you and Michael and I guess the rest of the cast, but really the way it seemed to me anyway, you and Michael were kind of the first ones to discover this insane fan base. How did you guys first come upon the following that you guys actually had?
Yeah, again, after Troll 2 was made in 1989, I shortly after got married, moved back to Alabama. And, I just kind of thought, well, maybe it'll come out one day on video, or this is way before DVDs, and it might be possible that Troll 2 might make it to the big screen, and we all kind of thought, oh, well, it might. But you got to understand, when we made the film Troll 2, we had no clue what we were doing. We didn't understand the direction because it's all in Italian. It's a whole Italian film crew that made the movie Troll 2. I keep going back and forth between documentary and movie. But back in '89, we just did the best we could. We were all non-actors, and we all did have a hope, hey, it would be cool if we could be on the big screen one day. Little did we know that through Michael Stevens and I, Michael who played the son, and my son in Troll 2, he and I brought it back to the big screen in America through Landmark Theaters and other independent film theaters. And we documented all that, of course, for Best Worst Movie.
Well, thank God you did. I think that...
Thank you.
Being someone who knew of Troll 2 before the documentary, I've also found so many people who've never even heard of the film, but heard of the documentary and went back and visited it for the first time, and I was more than happy to help them revisit Troll 2 for its appeal. How about all the random... there was a lot of random showings that you guys went to where even you guys weren't a part of it. I think one of them was like an Atkins research group and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How did you even find a lot of these? Or, the guy who brought Troll 2 to Iraq?
So that's so great. You know what? Michael had read the book, The Tipping Point. And he talked about mavens and people in the tipping point. He talks about mavens who are people that actually go out and spread the news. You're probably a maven for Troll 2, for example, Matthew, and the fact that you are such a Troll 2 fan that you'll tell somebody else about this, underground classic, And there's millions of mavens out there now about Troll 2, or thousands and hundreds of thousands you've got to see this movie. Oh my God, it's so bad. So Michael and I put together a website. Michael had left the film industry for a while in Salt Lake, and he ended up having his own web-based company. And so through his smart ideas and creative ways, we put a website together. It was called the Official Troll 2 website, and now there's well over 200,000 members in that website that we put together 4 years ago. And people would write in, and they would tell us where they were having Troll 2 parties, and they'd send us films and send us pictures from all over. And this is pre-Facebook, and so through MySpace at the time we were getting a lot of information. And then Michael, people would seek Michael out and find his email and send email pictures to Michael. So we were able to find out, that there was a fan, for example, in Austria. There was a fan in Budapest, Hungary. There's several fans in Iceland, and there's fans here, in Iraq and there in France. So we thought, let's go find these fans. And so we took off and went to 8 countries and filmed in 24 cities and documented filming Best Worst Movie, for, tell the story of the world, the story about Troll 2.
Now, are we going to be able to see some more George Hardy in the future in films?
Yeah, well, that's really wild. I just got off the phone with Michael Stevenson, and we've been approached, and I've been asked to do a reality show, and we're looking at a concept for that, and there's several people that producers that do reality shows that would like for me to host one. Possibly, I've done 3 other films since Best Worst Movie, and I did a film called Junk with a fellow named Kevin Hamadani, who did a film called Zombies in Mass Destruction in 2008, and he got quite a bit of film festival recognition from that. And so some guys from up in Seattle put him up for another movie, and he's called it Junk. And myself and my daughter flew up to Brooklyn about a month and a half ago and filmed a cameo there. And also, you might want to know, if you're a bad film fan, The Room, of course, everybody's argued, The Room's the worst film ever made, or Planet 9 is, Troll 2, no, it's not true, but, we had a lot of fun with that. But the female lead from The Room, myself, and the male lead from Birdemic, another really bad movie, just did a cameo scene in a New Zealand film called Ghost Shark 2, Urban Jaws.
And from what I know, there is no Urban Shark 1, correct?
Yeah, that's right. There's no Urban Shark 1. And so Alan Barr, myself, and Juliette Warden, the 3 of us, had a really fun day in Los Angeles about 3 or 4 months ago. And we were able to film for some guys. And we Skyped, in fact, with some the director from New Zealand, and he helped us out with that. And it was a lot of fun. That's coming out in 2011, and so will I think 2011 or 12. I think Sundance might have the opportunity to show Junk. So hopefully it'll hit that film festival. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And it's funny. If you watch Best Worst Movie, you guys, it asked me if I ever wanted to act again. And as I said, I'm a general dentist in Alabama. I have to say, my heart really, I pretty much a ham, and I love comedy, and I just have a whole lot of fun, being in front of people, and just really getting to, like I said earlier, the human psyche of folks, and just have fun with it. And I'd love to interview like you do with me, and so who knows, something might come of it. I might, one day you get something, that comes out of the blue that wants me to do something really big. You never know.
Well, that's exciting. I can't believe I'm excited for this reality show. I hope something comes from that.
Yeah. It's just talk right now. It's in the works, and I know. I mean, there's, I don't know, Matthew. To me, a lot of the reality shows are really boring and they're trash. And I just think that there could be a really fun concept that could, come about with Best Worst or something like that line. I don't know. You never know, Yeah,
you could do like an anti-Project Greenlight. Like, instead of helping them make a big Hollywood movie, you help them make a low-budget movie.
yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Low-budget stuff. What is it? American movie. It won the Sundance Film Festival back in the 80s. Have you seen that documentary?
Yeah, did he ever finish that movie? I feel like he's been making the same film for like 5 years.
I have to tell you, I have a really good friend that I met in our screenings over the past few years, James Eats, and James, such a sweetheart. He's in Chicago, and he fell in love with Troll 2 and fell in love with Best Worst Movie, and one night Ron Howard and his crew was in Chicago, and they really wanted to come out and see Best Worst Movie. I heard Ron was a real huge fan of Troll 2. I don't know that huge fan of Troll 2, but he really had heard a lot about Best Worst Movie, and Ron was filming in Chicago, and I think his newest film's out, the comedy's got out right now. I forget the name of it, but it's like one word. But anyway, Ron wanted to come that night, and Ron didn't make it, but he sent his team in, and it was really fun to be able to show the documentary to his group. And out of the audience, there was a fellow named James Eats, and James, the reason I'm going into this is James, he just really became a good friend of ours and took us back to the hotel and showed us around Chicago, and he too had become really close friends with the guys that made American Movie. And he's not far from Milwaukee, so I went up and visited them, and he tells me all about those two guys, and I got on the phone with the guys that made American Movie, and they just seemed like a scream. So I've been really fortunate to be exposed to so many things, over the last 4 or 5 years of my life, filming and, being a main subject of a documentary, and also seeing the resurgence of a movie that, like you said, it was a train wreck we never thought would ever happen, and and I've become the center of attention to it all. It's pretty wild story, really.
Well, thank you so much, George, for doing this. Is there anywhere where people can go to find out more about, where they can see George Hardy in these future films, or?
Well, on IMDb you can kind of see what I've been up to a little bit on that. I'm not really one big, huge professional person on Internet Movie Database, but you can keep up with me probably there. And I'd love to invite any of you guys to be my Facebook friend that listen in. I'm just George Hardy on Facebook, and you can I'm always I'm not a really big tweeter. I still, Matthew, do you understand tweeting? Is it Twitter or I don't know. I just have the hardest time.
It's Twitter's the site. Tweeting is what you do on it.
Yeah. I just don't really understand. It doesn't seem anywhere as exciting or fun as keep telling what's going on with Facebook. For example, today on Facebook, I posted, what's your status or something like that. What's going on with you right now or whatever. And I asked the question, I posed the question, what's the name of your city spelled backwards? As you know, in Troll 2, Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards. And so I posed the question, what's the name of your city spelled backwards? And you would not believe the response. I think within 3 hours I had over 100 people writing me in, spelling their town or their city backwards. All over the world, too. It's amazing. So you couldn't do that in tweeting. I guess you could, but I just don't know.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing. It's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go, 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 go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.